Hello everybody, Reggie Time here with the 6th episode of Darkside, which is basically my charting 50 hours of play or 50,000 hands in the iPoker €20 NL tables. For the observant amongst you, you will notice that there is no HUD today. That is because right now there is a problem on the iPoker network with the way hands are being imported. It's only importing hands that I actually physically voluntarily put chips in pots with. I'm not going to 3-bet fold ace queen here versus a short stacker. We get it in bad, which is a shame, but that's life. I'm going to 4-bet fold ace queen here. Against Captain Raditz, because I think people 3-bet quite a lot from the button and 3-bet pretty wide. I think we can definitely short profit by 4-betting here, either by making him fold his equity share or sometimes having him call and then we make the best hand, and if he just shoves on us we have a pretty easy fold. It's not the greatest boards, to be completely honest. Kind of half me wants to c-bet because of my backdoor draws, the other side of me doesn't want to c-bet because I just don't think we're going to get too many folds on this board. And I think that's the overriding factor here. How many folds are we going to get? Probably not a lot. So if we're not going to get any folds, then do I really want to be putting another 75 blinds at risk? Probably don't. So we're just going to check fold at this point and move on. So playing without reads today. And I'm not familiar enough with this player pool to, like I was on the Snap games when I was playing Snap on 888, to really know very much. But the player pool is quite small, so I'm hoping the games are going to be pretty soft, because it seems to me that usually at this time of day there may be 80 players in the pool. There's currently just 50 in the pool. So maybe there's less regulars playing because of the HUD issue, which if that's the case, it's going to be a good time to play. This session probably won't be recorded as part of the overall challenge unless when the fix comes out it captures every hand that I've played, because otherwise if it somehow goes in to my database and I end up with 100 VPIP, which is what the bug is currently doing, I would just purge them hands from my database, because they're not going to be any kind of accurate reflection on what's happened. They're going to inflate my win rate, they're going to inflate my hourly rate, all the things that I don't want to do. If somehow when they fix it we manage to import all the hands, well then the session will stand as part of the challenge. Right now what's happening is iPoker is writing all the hands to my hard drive, or at least I think that's what's happening. iPoker are writing all the hands to my hard drive, but for some reason Holder Manager isn't collecting them all. They're not all going into the Holder Manager archive. I've no idea why. My software knowledge is beyond appalling. So I'm not going to try and understand why that's happening. It's not my job to understand why. That's the good people at Holder Manager to talk about and to fix. I just hope it gets fixed soon. When I get check raise on this board, I have no idea what the guy's repping really. I mean, who knows? Maybe he just fast plays nutted hands. Maybe he's just check raising because it's hard for us to have anything. I don't know. And without reading, in the absence of reads, I'm not going to get too attached to my 2-5s there. That's probably a good board to check raise as a bluff. If he's doing that with any kind of value hand there, it's a really poor time to check raise. If you just say he's check raising King Queen there, or 8-9 suited or something like that, if he's raising for value, it doesn't really, in my opinion, I don't think it's a particularly good raise. Yeah, he's going to get value from the very top of my range, but for my overall c-betting range on that board, how much value can he actually get? Going to fold the Queen Jack to the 3-bet. I'm hoping this isn't one of those sessions where everyone's just playing super aggro monkey because again we're just getting raised here. Blind versus blind. Against somebody not playing a full stack. I'm not prepared to fold just yet. Not prepared to fold, and yeah, it looks like it might be one of them sessions where everyone's on 3-bet patrol. So maybe with that in mind, I may just slightly tighten up. I mean, it could just be sample size. It could just be that. I mean, it could be a lot of reasons why this is happening. It could just be that people have just got hands, and I'm being slightly oversensitive to it. The ace-10 here. I think I'm just going to call down. I think you have a lot of bluffs on this type of board texture, and if he turns up with a set or 2 pair, well, kind of unfortunate for me. I'm not going to be thrilled to call all my stack off here. I'm really not, because a lot of the time he is just going to have a set of 2s or ace-9 or something like that. But that said, I mean, my original thoughts were wet board, blind versus blind, people mess around a lot. I'm not sure people triple barrel off that often in this spot as a bluff. But in the absence of any reads, and the fact that you probably would 3-bet ace king, ace queen a decent amount, so I'm not too concerned about kicker issues. I'm just going to call it off. Yeah, and he did just have a complete airball. I mean, I have no idea what is going through his mind there. And that isn't, I mean, anyone's watched my videos, anyone that's worked with me, they will know I have a pathological hatred of calling off. I really am not a fan of it at all. But in spots like that where, well, you know, just where it's just, what does he rep? In that spot, blind versus blind. I mean, of course, he can have value hands. There's without question he can. But I don't know. He just smelt to me. He just smelt funny, and that's kind of sometimes just where like your instinct kicks in. And it's not so much you can't really verbalise what it is you think you can have, because he can have so much crap like he had. And yeah, I think it's just one of those spots where, for me, against an unknown, probably against a regular, I probably wouldn't be looking to call down as much, because I think a lot of regulars wouldn't fire the 3rd barrel. They might fire 2, but not the 3rd. But against somebody who has an odd stack size, taking an odd line, I think I'm just too far up my range to want to be check folding there too often. King 7-3, pretty dry board. I mean, obviously there's a flush draw out there, some good shots and what have you, but I think it's fine to c-bet. No plans to double barrel in any card really. If we get called, we're kind of just done with it. This is definitely a one and done, because the board's pretty dry. So a question that I've been asked a few times on Reddit lately, well, not a few times, but not the specific question, but generally people have been asking a lot about when to barrel, when not to barrel, and I've often said to people, just watch my videos, listen to how I talk about hands, how about I'm planning ahead in terms of that hand there, where they had the queen, wherever it was, the queen 9 offsuit. That was a one and done, and I don't decide to barrel just randomly on particular turn cards. I will try and have a plan. And sometimes you'll hear me talking about, yep, I'm going to c-bet here, and I'm going to double barrel on cards X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to give up on cards A, B, and C. That type of thing. I'm going to try really hard in this session to talk an awful lot about planning ahead. I'm going to try my hardest to try and emphasise exactly what my plans are at all point. Like here, for example, on this low wet board, I'm kind of just going to bet once here to get him off Queen Jack, Queen 10, King X, all the hands that are beat. If we get check called here, I'm only going to double barrel on a 9 or a Queen and nothing else. Here on this board with the King 10 suited, we have a good shot, but I'm just not going to call with it. And when we get raised, it's the easiest fold ever. Yes, to play without a hood, it's not ideal, but I'm very used to it. I'd rather play my hood. I'd rather I'd rather be catching the hands that I'm playing in my database properly, just for my records and for the purpose of the challenge. Well, that said, the games are going to be pretty good. I still need to play, still need to make money, still need to make a living, or not a living, but part of a living. So I can't just not play because things aren't perfect for us. Here with the two kings, we're going to make a 4-bet to around 22 blinds and hope that this guy shoves over us. Even though we are super deep, I still don't intend to 4-bet fold two kings here. I'm going to peel once with the pair of tens, just because I think he's going to c-bet the king XX board with a particular high frequency. We're going to c-bet the 497 rainbow, but only double barrel on a 10 or higher. We won't be double barreling on any cards like this. That just we don't pick up any fold equity against pairs. So if it's 10 or higher, I would probably c-bet just because double barrel, because we can put more pressure on his pocket 8s, his 7x, his whatever. Not trying to get someone to fold a 9 almost ever here. So we're just going to check back now. We've missed and hope to hit on the river. Just going to check back here with the Queen 10. I don't think we've got too much showdown value. I think we're going to lose to pocket queens a lot here, and pocket jacks and things. Maybe some like weak King X, but I just don't think he's going to fold pocket queens or pocket jacks very often either. And we do have showdown value, so yeah. And he had pocket jacks. Not going to see about the 2-4s. Way too much can call. Lots of things have tons of equity against, so just single spades, etc. I don't think he's going to fold any pairs. Don't think he's going to fold any better hands ever. Not going to fold many draws. So therefore, not much point in c-betting. And now we're just going to fold when he bets. So we have a good shot here. I think we're just going to take one stab at the pot. I mean, him just getting to fold some random high cards he may have. If he calls, we're pretty much done, even on the ace. Which kind of makes you want to bluff, because I just empty the clip to try and get him off some, who knows what, some 7x, 8x. No. Yes. In fact, yes. And we're going to empty the clip here, and we're just going to try. Well, we were about to, as you could see, we were about to empty the clip until we were allowed. I'm going to check here with the ace queen. There's no real reason to see bet. We can certainly do some check calling. We're going to keep checking, and we're just done here now because we butchered the turn, and we won anyway, which is nice. He bets 20 cents. Again, there's no sense raising of value. I'm just trying to show my hand down here. For some reason, I keep sitting out at this top right table, which is somewhat frustrating. And I think now I'm just going to value bet my queen. Sorry, my ace, because I think he's going to check back too often. He hasn't done anything this hand that makes me think he's strong so far. If I get raised here, he's probably just got a 10 that he's slow played to death. Something is definitely wrong with the software here. Let's just try and quickly join again. Not really sure what's going on. There's been an awful lot of problems with an awful lot of sites lately in poker, with one thing or another. I should have c-bet my good shot on the bottom table on a very dry board, but I was distracted by my disconnection issues. But it's worked anyway. So we flop a good shot in a limped pot. Appeal once, because I think if we hit a 5 we can win. Then we can win a decent amount of money if we hit a 5 there. It can give them a lot of 2 pairs, etc. And now it's just a matter of, do I want to double barrel? I think his most likely hand is going to be like 1 pair. I think he would always barrel a flush here. I think he'd always bet a straight. So I think he's got 1 pair most of the time. So I'm just going to try and bluff him off 1 pair by just firing 2 rather large bets. Just trying to rip the flush pretty hard. Is he going to call because someone's made the bet way too small at the squeeze? And we're just going to drop a bomb here. And if he would chooses to call me with 2 pairs or something, well, never mind. It's not the end of the world. And wow, he calls me with 1 pair, which is quite interesting. And obviously I'm fine with that. I mean, if people want to lump me up there with that particular hand, then good for them. Most of the time I'm not going to have a bluff, so it's going to be fine. Here's going to bet really big because, I mean, obviously if anyone's got an ace, we're going to get a ton of value. And if they haven't, they're probably going to fold anyway, whether I bet big or small. Yeah, but with this guy, this Baby Nation, min 3 betting pre, I'm kind of hoping he's got some weird slow play going on here. With that ace king or ace queen or something, but he doesn't, which is unfortunate. Definitely missed a c-bet on this flop down here too on that dry board. And again, that should have been a c-bet on that board, but I was too busy talking about the hand on table 1. It's one of the downsides of making videos. It's sometimes hard to concentrate on everything that you should be doing. If you talk about one thing, we can sometimes autopilot and do a bad thing on another. Yeah, and I just butchered the hand now basically. So I'm just going to give up. Just going to give up. And wow, maybe people do make some light calls. Just going to fold here. I mean, maybe he would have. Well, I don't think he would have folded that river once it is 10. So maybe he made a good check back, but my mistake in the hand was absolutely not c-bet. When it comes down king, king 8, I mean, it's never a mandatory c-bet. I don't have standards, but I'm going to be c-betting that a lot of the time. And I'm going to expect him to fold hands like ace 10 a lot of the time, which is what makes a c-bet so profitable. But yeah, I've made a couple of sloppy mistakes so far in this video because of an issue of talking too much about that hand on table 1, and the second one was just because we had the issue on table 2 where for some reason I kept sitting out and then the table just closed on me, etc. This is a board I'm just not going to see bet ever as a bluff. The 5-6-7 two-tone, I mean, it's just as wet as it gets. And against people with small stacks, or less than 100 blinds, we have to assume our fold equity is going to be reduced on all board textures, but on these board textures, I'm probably just going to make 1 bet on the river and just try and pick up a pot from, try and get some folds from ace high right at the death. And now we're not going to try and get folds, we're going to try and get value. And just hope he's got a hand like 2-8 here, 2-9, something like that, that it's just trying to get the showdown with. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to check what he had there because I'm not sure anything like that. Oh, we are going to get to see Queen 6. So, yeah, not really sure what went on there, but yep, congratulations to him for playing every street just about as badly as he could. Perhaps checking the flop on the turn isn't too bad. Perhaps I'm being too unfair there, but just basically, anyone watching these videos, you already know, but don't call pre-flop raises with Queen 6 offsuit. It's a license for, well, not a license for anything, but it's a recipe for losing your bankroll pretty quickly. I recognise almost none of these names. I mean, it could be that I've got lots of hands on them because I haven't had to recognise the names as much because I've had a HUD running. So that's entirely possible. There are some regulars that I am aware of from name. I can't remember the names exactly now, but I remember the names when I see them. One's Johnny somebody, one's Fairy something or other. So there are some that I would recognise if they were playing. But right now these games seem to be really good. Look at this table here. We've got 1, 2, 3 players. Less than 100 big blinds. 4 there. Any more? No, not this time. Yeah, so the games just look really good. It's a shame that it isn't going to count towards my challenge. Or probably isn't going to count towards my challenge. But as I said earlier, that shouldn't be a reason to not play. I kind of didn't play much yesterday because I didn't want to tarnish the challenge, but the issue is still ongoing today. 3-bet my king queen for value, and I'm just not going to not play any longer. And I'm going to c-bet this dry board. We're going to 3-bet, get it in with the 9s. We're going to c-bet this dry board. And we're probably going to double barrel this on any card that's higher than a 9. So it's, well, I don't need to explain that any more than that. I was about to explain it more than that, but there's no reason to. It's quite large on a very dry board, no reason to continue. And now we're going to hope to win a flip, which we do, which is nice. Go us. The board earlier with the, I think it was on this table, wasn't it? Hopefully we'll be able to pull the hand up again. Wherever it was. Yep. When he raises me on that board, it's a different situation before because we don't have a pair. Of course, he can still have all the same silly bluffs that we had in the earlier hand at table 3 where we bluff caught. But he made his raise significantly bigger, the board's drier, and we just got less equity, a lot less equity. So that's why I didn't look to bluff catch here, even though it was pretty similar situation. Not going to defend my Queen 9 suited there. Do I want to c-bet the Jack 7? Yes, I think we do. Again, this is just to collect dead money race more than anything else. There's obviously lots of Queen highs, some King highs, etc. we can make fold, so it's a good result for us if that happens. And when we get raised again, we have a really easy fold. I mean, there's just for me, it's just about if he has got just random high cards there that he's folding, let's have him fold them. If he doesn't fold them, well, so be it. It's not the end of the world. We're not going to see about this board against somebody with that stack. We're just going to be check folding unless he does something silly like min bets. And he doesn't min bet, so we're just going to check fold. Yep, so thinking ahead, when it comes to deciding what to do on turns or rivers, as we talked about earlier, try and decide ahead of time as much as you can. Because it's going to make your decisions a lot easier. It's something I've talked about in some articles. It's something I talk about a lot with my students. And for example, here we're going to see about our flush draw. We're not going to fold to a raise, but we're not always going to barrel turns. We're not going to barrel, say, the turns we're going to barrel. We're going to be a 5. It's going to be a 9. It's going to be a 10. It's going to be a 4. Anything that increases our equity, and a diamond, obviously. If we get called, if we get raised, we're just going to call and we're just going to try and spike our flush. And then maybe we would, on top of that, maybe barrel an ace. So we're going to be looking to barrel turns that either improve our pot equity or improve our fold equity. And then if a brick comes off, we're not going to be double barreling those. But if you think ahead of which cards you want to see and how you're going to respond to them, and then just execute that plan, you're going to find yourself playing a lot better poker. You're going to be thinking a lot more clearly than trying to react to something you were expecting or something that's frustrated you. If you don't have a plan for something that's going to happen that's going to frustrate you, you're not going to respond to it very well. You're not going to respond to it as well as you can. Here we're going to just c-bet because it's a really dry board. It's ace high. We can get we can get a lot of folds and better hands, and we have some backdoor equity. I'll probably do a barrel of diamond here, and maybe a jack or a queen. Because we pick up the good shot. And if it comes, I don't know, the 2 of hearts, someone's going to be done with the hand. And it looks like he's just going to fold. And make me wait. Yep, good for him. Am I going to value bet my 9? I think I am. I'm probably not going to continue if we get called. There's not many turns we're going to continue on. We're going to continue on a diamond, on an 8, or on a 9, and that's about it. Possibly a 10, if it's offsuit 10. But yeah, we're happy just to pick the pot up there. We could squeeze the ace 10 off here, but I think it's just a little bit too weak. We don't get it in too often. In bad shape. So this, the Rich Stever. He's turning up at a few tables here. He could be a regular. We're obviously going to 3-bet our jacks, and we are 3-betting them to 5-bet shove them. There'll be no getting scared if we get 4-bet. It should be matter of well. Here we go. Let's take our flip or whatever and move on. Not fond of calling 4x opens, but having said that, against a player who makes a 4x open in modern poker, we've probably got some decent implied odds, and we're not going to be check folding this flop. We're going to be check calling and just kind of hoping that that really high card doesn't come. Wow, he's just potted it. I did say we weren't going to be check folding, but when he pots this board, and if I hit a 6, I'm not going to get action because it's going to be a 4 straight. If I hit a 5, I'm not going to get action. I was about to fold there, for the record. I timed out, but I was about to fold just because he potted it. I mean, it's just really poor sizing from him. His 4x pre, he's potted it post flop. That guy's going to be making a lot of mistakes. We're going to make a lot of money from people like him. And he was the guy who's just done it, Baby Nation. I want to keep an eye on him if he is 4x net again. So can we quickly get that up if we can find it? Was he called Baby? Yes, he was. So we're going to keep our eye on the player Baby Nation for the rest of the session. And because it looks like 4x is going to be his standard open, I'm imagining pot's going to be his standard c-bet. Because people who make these sort of mistakes, they make them often. So we're certainly going to be looking out for Baby Nation and looking to get as many pots of them as we can. Yeah, he's going to be a bad player. I already know this now with this weird sizing thing he's doing. We're just going to hope to flop a set here. I'm going to pray to the board gods, crossing my fingers. Let's have a set, please. Nope, no dice. We're going to 3-bet the King Jack off as a... We were about to 3-bet the King Jack off as a bluff. I'm sorry for this timing out. I'd probably need to just speed up just a little bit. I'm not sure if they've actually, if I'm timing out, they may have done some update that I'm not aware of that has really reduced the amount of time we have to act. Something I'm going to have to be aware of. Because they did do quite a large update yesterday, and that's when the HUD issue started. Maybe they've reduced the time back too, who knows? Because I don't normally time out when I'm 3-tabling, so let's just see what's happening if we do just dwell slightly. No, I don't think they have. Maybe I'm just spending too much time dillying and dallying. Right, no reason to raise here. With the top pair, good kicker against some guy just donking out. I mean, if he's got an 8 here, he's doing this, or he's got Jack 10, he's just going to win all my stack. But he can just have King Jack. I mean, that's a really, really poor run out. I'm quite disappointed with this run out. And now I want to fold. I had every intention of just calling down here. But things have just got worse and worse and worse. So now I'm just going to fold. If that river was a brick, I would have just snap called. I had no intention of folding there, but I think the 9 is just going to give him straights that are just bomb the flop. That's a donk the flop. Who knows what you can have there? But I mean, yeah, you can just have a lot of straights. 8-7 obviously gets there as well. That 8-7 was already there. Jack 7's got there, Jack Queen's got there. Just too much got there for my liking. 3-bet the 8s here. For value, not going to fold them if he 4-bets. Didn't expect to get called too often, but we did, which is a shame. We could c-bet here, just protect our equity against 2 high cards. I mean, obviously we don't really want to see a Jack, King or 10 come off here very often. But is the value of protecting against that worth the times we value on ourselves when he's got to check calling with better? I think we will just take a street off and just try and keep the pot under control. I think we can certainly call the $2 bet. And again, the board ran out pretty bad for us. And I don't think we win very often here. I don't think we win very often, but the question is, can I make him fold a better hand? We can maybe make him fold a 9, but that's about it. So he's going to give up. And we win anyway, which is always nice. We're going to fold the ace-10 off to the 3-bet. I suspect I'd probably fold to more 3-bets than most people, but that's because I understand more than most people that people aren't 3-betting light in these games. They're usually just 3-betting depolarised ranges, and when people are 3-betting depolarised ranges, ace-10 off's a pretty horrible hand to be going into battle with. I'm not going to continue with the Jack Queen suited here. We'd basically just flop nothing. We are going to c-bet the 2 overcards and the backdoor flush, backdoor straights. Wow, he donks into us. Some strange things are happening today. I'm not prepared to fold this donk bet. I think raising doesn't really do us any favours, so therefore it just leaves calling as the option. I don't like it, but I mean, I just think folding there will be too weak. I think raising will be overplaying our hands. When he just pots the turn, we're just going to fold now. It does feel like we're getting slightly run over this session, but it feels like we're in good games. It feels like we're in good situations and we're lining up to win some big pots. Unfortunately, at the moment, our cards aren't really cooperating with us, but I think we make some hands here in this session. I think we can definitely win some big pots because there seems to be quite a lot of not smart aggression out there. Cheap at the jacks for value. Don't need to be necessarily scared of the queen. We can still get called by, I was going to say pocket 8s, pocket 9s, 10x, etc. We're going to fire a second barrel here. We picked up the good shot. If he does have a queen, we've got some outs against the queen. We can still get called by a 10. We can get called by Jack X. Jack 10's certainly not going to fold. Jack 8's not going to fold. So yeah, I think we definitely still have a value betting opportunity on this turn. Obviously, we're going to fold to a raise. Because when we get raised, we're just going to be crushed nearly all of the time. And if I get called, I'm going to check back everything that isn't a 9, I think. As long as assuming he allows me to check back, of course. Defend the 6-5 suited. He just donk jams the river, which wow. A lot of me wants to call here. So much of me wants to call. I'm just thinking, just what is he doing this with? Ace queen, king queen, probably not. Jack 9. We block. Yeah, I'm just going to call because I just think he reps an awful lot of bullshit. And unfortunately, he did have the Jack 9, which is a shame because we blocked that so hard. And as I said, I really do hate paying off. But again, that was just such a weird line. When we block the most likely hand he's doing it with so hard as we did, yeah, it's irritating that I paid that particular line off there. But I just don't think he does it with the queen. You know, when he does it, he's going to be nuts or ace so often. That, yeah, I mean, I just think it's fine to call there. Well, not fine. I mean, it's not great, but I don't think we can just jib out of making those calls when people just rep so much bullshit. And yeah, sometimes we make hero calls. We get our ass handed to us. That was one of those times. But I mean, I reasoned it out fine. I'm happy with the reasoning. Obviously, not happy with the outcome, but that's life. That's just life, I'm afraid. In the past, things like that would have tilted me for sure. I mean, I would have probably gone on to play pretty badly after that because it had been irritated. And now I'm still irritated when things like that happen, but I just get on with it, and I just like I can see now I'm in good games. We can still potentially have a really good session here, and the only thing that's going to stop me, well, one of the things that's going to stop me from having a really good session, is me tilting my tits off and just really just burning a particularly profitable situation. I'm going to check back here on this board. When he checks, I think if he is just checking 2 high cards, we're going to be able to take them off him on the turn and river. And these types of players, they just go for some weird check raises on these types of boards. Way too often. And I think now we can just bet twice and get him off King Queen, Ace Queen, Ace King, who knows what else. Just 2 high cards that haven't connected and some smaller pairs. I prefer to see 2 checks before I make my stab there. Drake, I know, is some pretty bad semi-fishy type regular who just always seems to just want to play a 40 blind stack. No offence to you, Drake, if you are watching this video, but you know, it's hard time respecting your game, hard time respecting your choices in poker with the strategy that you're employing. I'm just going to check fold here. We had total brick. And we're going to set mine here out of position because he's made it so small, and this sitting out thing's getting tedious now. Because he's made it so small, we just have to set mine there. And now we're going to hope to win a big pot. We're going to hope he's got a big pair, and we're going to hope to stack him. And I'm going to start by raising now because I don't want any cards to come off that's going to scare his big pair. So we're going to try and get all the money in now, and unfortunately he did just I mean, I'm not fond of people c-bet folding that board if he's c-bet bluffing, because my range is not going to be folding too often on that board. Or you wouldn't think it is. I'm just not into c-betting wet boards. I think we get way less folds. I think people who do c-bet those boards are probably the kind of people who, when we do get stats up, they're going to have really high c-bets. They're going to be c-betting way too often. And maybe that was a situation where if I'd had stats, I would have played the hand differently. Because he's snap folded, which is an indication that he's probably just c-betting too often. So I could have seen there and seen he had like an 80% c-bet, 100% c-bet in 3-bet pots, etc. Not a chance I would have fast played my hand there. But I didn't know that, so we only have the information that we have. And yeah, we just thought he had a strong hand. He went for the min 3-bet and he went for a decently sized c-bet. And we have to assume that he's got something until proven otherwise. Unfortunately, when he proves otherwise, he usually proves it by folding, which is a shame. C-bet this dry board. We're going to double barrel any 7, any 9, any club, any 10, any king, any ace. Well, basically, any card over a 10 and clubs, and any card that gives us some straight draws. Here we're going to c-bet this dry board again. Here we're just going to barrel any card that improves our pot equity, which will be an ace, a diamond, or obviously a 6 would be sweet. We get check raised, check min raised, which is a little bit frustrating, but we just don't have enough equity to call, so we're just going to fold and not care too much about it. These too many short stackers is getting quite frustrating though, because it just limits your tools against people. I mean, if there's too many short stackers in the pool, I guess it becomes unplayable. Do a c-bet here for thin value. A c-bet fold here because I don't think I'm going to get check raised by a worse hand. Not going to c-bet this wet board. Yeah, but too many people with these crappy, shitty, irritating stack sizes. It just makes life unpleasant because we just can't we can't maximise our skill advantage against these players. Well, we can, but the way we use our skill advantage against these players, you just kind of just always happen to have it, which is a shame. And I would have folded to this. Had I not spiked a queen, I would have folded here because I expect him to have a king or a 9 nearly all of the time when he takes his line. So had that turn come like a 2 or something, I would not have been calling. And I would have been right to not call. I thought that was a point that was just worth making. Against that line there, when we get check called on a king 9-9 flop and they bet the turn, they've just always got a king or a 9. So yeah, I would not have paid off with my queens. I would just have folded and felt a little bit sorry for myself. Fold the 6 deuce. I'm going to call with the 6-7 suited. I'm really not fond of calling raises out of position with hands like 6-7 suited. When somebody min raises and somebody else calls, I don't think it's a terrible situation. Again, here, these really minging stack sizes. There's nothing much you can do here with king queen other than just try and hit. I just think 3 betting and getting it in is just spew. We're going to get it in bad most of the time. And I don't know if it's too strong to fold, so too strong to fold, too weak to 3 bet and get it in with. It only leaves calling as an option, but this is the problem of playing it against players with these sort of stack depths. It's just really irritating. It really limits just how creative we can be. I mean, I guess we're pleased they exist, but we're pleased that bad players that buy in for small amounts exist. But when they go too short, when they get to like 5 and like 25 blinds, it's just really irritating. And yeah, I'd rather it just didn't happen, but it does when we've got to get on with it. We see betting the king queen for value. Probably not going to fold to either of these players because of the stack sizes. It's just too likely they're going to have worse hands or draws and things. Which draws out worse hands, obviously. Again, we're going to have a situation here if Lana Wood, or whatever it's called, Lama Wood, jams on us. I'm probably just going to call out of sheer stubbornness and for the fact that it's going to be 19 blinds and whatever. Just 4x it with the Jack 9 because we don't really want to be letting people limp into our big blind too often. And Jack 9's fine for doing this like that with. I wouldn't do it with low cards, but we got like reasonably high connected cards. I think Jack 9's a fine hand to 4x with against limpers. I need to start checking people's stack size before I open buttons in future because there are too many short stacks in the pool. To the point where I may actually just end the session because at the moment, yeah, I think there's plenty of bad players in the pool. Do not get me wrong, but the amount of short stackers in the pool is kind of making me not want to bother too much. So I think we'll maybe play for another. How long have we been going for now? We have been going for 44 minutes anyway. Wow, that's a longer session than I thought. Yeah, so I'm happy with the video length. Not that motivated to continue playing. I mean, this table's a prime example. 3 people all with 40 blinds. I'm just not asked about playing people. We've got too many people. The odd one hanging around isn't too bad, but too many of them it makes the games really dull. So yeah, I think we will just end up sitting out next blind and calling it a wrap for the video. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I've definitely tried to explain my thought processes much more than I have in previous videos, just because of the questions I've been asked recently. So I hope you got a little bit extra from it. And if you do have any questions based on other things I've discussed in the video or things I've talked about that haven't made sense to you, please do get in touch via the forums, via YouTube, whatever other ways there are to get in touch with me. And I'd be happy to respond. I love giving feedback on my videos. I love knowing people watch them. Super easy c-bet here with trips, obviously. I guess we could have checked back there because it's hard to get called by worse, but who knows, people might still check call with some pocket pairs there. So yeah, that is the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be making, as you have done already, very frequent updates with this because I just enjoy making videos. I feel I play better when I make videos, and yeah, why not? Even if it gets on people's nerves, just ignore me. But for now, take care. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch up with you later in the week. Bye for now.